Hello, everyone. We'll give it just a minute here for everyone to get in. All right, let's go ahead and get kicked off. So again, welcome to today's webinar, Powering Partner Success with FusionOne 5G SD-WAN. I'm Katie McCormick, VP of Marketing at FirstComm, and I'll be your host. We're so glad you could join us today to learn more about FusionOne and how it's redefining connectivity for businesses of all sizes. Before we get started, I do just have a couple of quick housekeeping notes. So today's session is being recorded, and we'll send that recording out in the next few days here. So feel free to share that with colleagues and connections. And then for questions today, please use that Q&A function on the top toolbar of Microsoft Teams. We do have chat closed, so please direct all questions there. We will go ahead and answer as many questions as we can live today. For any questions that we may not be able to get to, we will go ahead and follow up with you individually. Here's a quick look at what we'll cover today. An introduction to FusionOne 5G SD-WAN and the problems it solves for businesses. How FusionOne keeps your business connected with AT&T. Why FirstComm chose to partner with Peplink, and a look into how businesses are using FusionOne to improve productivity and reliability. A live FusionOne portal overview, a look into FirstComm's partner program, current SPIFFs, and how to submit an opportunity and what to expect. And then finally, we'll end with a live Q&A session where you can ask our panel your questions. We have an incredible group of experts with us today who will share insights from both the technology and business perspective. So introducing Chris Ford, VP of Product at FirstComm. Matt Cardenas, VP of Sales at FirstComm. Beau Barker, Technical Sales Manager at Peplink. Monroe Melvin, Business Development Manager at Peplink. And Paul Dalton, Channel Manager at AT&T. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Chris Ford to get us started.
Thanks, Katie. I also want to thank all of our partners here, co-presenters AT&T and Peplink, for joining us today. Thank you all in attendance this afternoon, taking time out of your day to learn more about FusionOne. So why FirstComm? We're a proven partner, been in business for 25 years, servicing over 7,000 customers all around the United States, and we're always evolving to provide technical solutions and support customers need. We are experts that you can count on. We're a family here, first at FirstComm, with the average tenure of employment, 10 years. So we enjoy what we do here. We like to extend that same enthusiasm with supporting our customer base. We're a business where businesses are looking to outsource customer service and racing to have AI as their first line of customer interaction. We're focused and will continue to focus on human interaction. Our 24/7 support are real people located in Akron, Ohio, and in Chicago, Illinois. We are channel first, enabling our partners with flexible solutions, excellent sales support, and generous SPIFFs. This is something we strive for. Our VP of Sales, Matt Cardenas, will be covering more details on our partnerships and promotions after the Fusion demo. As I mentioned before, we're always evolving. Right? We provide the best solutions and support our customers and business partners need. Our current product lineup covers a wide variety of solutions that help transition customers from legacy technology. And with that we're going to go over our FusionOne lineup that we're going to talk about today. So what is FusionOne? It's an SD-WAN solution with our partnership with A-Link, as well as our partnership with AT&T and Verizon, where we're providing a SD-WAN device for a customer that also has a truly unlimited 4 or 5G non-capped backup connection. And what we're really providing with this particular solution is a very affordable product, flat rate of $140, which basically encompasses that all untapped 5G backup connection. It's a full managed service. And with the SD-WAN solutions that we're providing, it is unbreakable, right? It's an unbreakable connection. This is an idea behind this is coming up with a product that we can have an affordable solution for customers that's going to be fully managed, and of course a simplified tool set we can drop off to the customer that has self-deployment, or First Communications can support that deployment as well. So the key products and features of this product is, again, it's a fully managed service. So First Communications, we drop ship, deploy the device. We can do the installation, or we can walk with a customer to set that up, or their IT staff. But it is a technically simplified device that we're setting up and programming. It is SD-WAN resilient, right? It has that intelligent failover. It's not just a hard failover looking at primary connection and falling over the secondary connection. It's an actually SD-WAN solution where it's looking at packet loss, latency, and other line degradation to help it prevent from completely going down, where it can now look at the primary connection, start to shift over. And we're also providing that unlimited data plan, which will be a 5G connection or a 4G LTE unlimited plan. And again, there's no data caps on this. This isn't a shared pool plan. It is truly unlimited. So if that primary interconnection does fail and decides to go down, there will be no issues, any overcharges or anything else. All that load will then take over to the secondary connection. In this case, 5G. It does support multiple WANs as well. So for instance, if you got the customer has a multiple primary interconnection, even let's say a business class internet to BCI copper or some form of fashion as a secondary WAN, it will also bring in that third connection in this case, which would be that 5 and 4G connection. So it can then shine from all types of the service-related issues and then move over and adjust accordingly on that SD-WAN solution. Another thing, of course, as I mentioned before, would be the simple installation. But we also have like access for the customers or their managers or IT managers and people that want to have this stuff. Even for our partners, if those partners want to have access to this customer side of the house. And I'll show you that in the demo, basically some of the visibility that you have. But again, notifications, up, down status, reporting and analytics that we can look at utilization on both bandwidth. You can actually run speed tests remotely from the device, which I'll show you in a bit later where that's at, to look at both or all three connections or multiple connections that are in there remotely from wherever you're at. So who actually benefits from this FusionOne product? Well, I think the key piece that came to my mind on that target focus would be companies that have basically a single ISP, right? And that could be for many reasons. It could be financially, they're looking to basically save money. They might be in an area that doesn't have a lot of competitive standpoint to where it's really just a Spectrum or it's a BCI type of product. So these are really good organizations to kind of go after because honestly, outside of that, any type of business will benefit from this product, regardless of what vertical that they're going to be in. But the primary things you think of nowadays when organizations have transcended to more like a product sets that they need, CRM tools, billing platforms, Office 365, Google Suite. I mean, basically anything and everything you do nowadays is going to be accessing a cloud solution. So with that in mind, you're losing your primary sole internet connection and have no way of accessing these important tools. This is a solution for these particular types of customers. IT with limited staff, again, because it is a managed solution as well. We're here to help, support, monitor, and take care of any type of upstream issues. Let's say if First Communications is the ISP for that primary WAN connection, we'll know immediately with our knock. Obviously, we have the ticketing and supporting that goes in, and we're right on top of it. But we also have the capability of letting the customer know these notifications as well. You lost your primary internet, right? The internet is back up. You're now shifting over from your secondary connection to your primary. So also organizations with critical operations, right, that require uptime. Again, that's, in my personal opinion, almost every customer, right? You talk to any business out there, it needs to be operational sound, right? They have to have, in this day and age. Back in the day, it was power, right? Nowadays, well, you can have backup generators and things, but primary internet is important, and having a secondary internet connection to access these cloud-based tools are right up there now. Also within the product, we are able to offer businesses if they need static IPs. So that's also another important piece behind this product set. A lot of times you're looking at a primary connection, or a customer may have an ISP. You may have the opportunity to pay for an IP, a static IP, let's say for a business class internet solution. But sometimes when it comes to cellular services, 5G, and even some of the 4G piece, some providers may or may not include that static IP. And where I'm getting at with this is because we have in our product set, we'll all go over, but with this particular partnership, we're able to have an overlay of 2 dedicated Fusion servers in our data centers in both Chicago and Illinois, where these edge devices can communicate back to. What I mean by that is we can now do application-based needs of voice calls, anything else, and route those back to our core network. The other upside of this is where I'm getting at is the IP offering. So now that these things are leveraging our core network, we can then provide a static IP address from First Communications. And that way we do have partners and customers that have, let's say, a premise-based PBX system that needs a static IP. It could be a Sonic firewall, other firewalls out that need static IP. So we're able to overlay that for these customers because, again, at that point, you're not so much concerned about the primary internet connection that you currently have and the secondary connection. If it's a DHCP and the IPs change every 5, 10, 15 minutes, 30 days, we're able to offer that static IP. So some of the challenges that FusionOne solves, some of these things, as I mentioned before, be slightly redundant, but I will cover these things. You'll see me hear a lot of repetitive things, but this, again, zero downtime. It's highly, highly important in this day and age because of all the services that people are accessing are in the cloud. The ability for us to monitor the local ISPs that they have out there. So here's an example. A lot of times, if First Communications is not providing that main primary internet connection, with this particular product set, we're now also able to monitor that customer's dedicated internet connection through whoever provider they have. Now, the difference is that we will not be opening on their behalf the ticket, but we will know immediately and ahead of time where our ticketing systems will trigger an alert. And then we can also notify the customer if they're not aware that that primary internet connection is down, so that that IT individual can open a ticket with their upstream carrier. And also that the solutions I provided First Communications is providing the dedicated internet. The bonus to that is, of course, is that we're already monitoring it. We're opening a ticket proactively to work on the issue with the upstream carrier. However, the service has now failed over to either the secondary WAN connection. In this case, it'll be utilizing the 5G connection, and the customer is always informed. So that's something that typically an IT person doesn't want to spend all day having to open a ticket with the upstream carrier and things like that. They can work with First Communications on this. And as I mentioned before, the latency issues too, right? So within an SD-WAN, a really good SD-WAN solution will focus more on some of these type of degradation on the primary or secondary connections, right? It's that WAN steering that looks at from a software-defined solution that says, hey, these are the type of things we're looking for versus a hard up and a hard down. This is when we're going to start to utilize the secondary connections and vice versa. And it doesn't require any program or anything, right? The SD-WAN technology within the Peplink device kind of covers that. All the information that you see today will be provided post-conversation, post-webinar. But again, we actually have battle cards that we can provide for you that kind of goes over the details specifically on some of the competitive standpoints. And as I mentioned before, when we look at even competitive product sets outside of this, the SD-WAN solution, there are other similar products that are out there from a competitive standpoint that are a shared pool data plan with just looking at a failover solution from primary and then go into a backup. That for me, and those are great, right? But what I think where you start to miss the point is when you have a heavy load of traffic that just fails over, you will now start to consume a 1 gig data plan pretty quick. I've seen people do it. And then the overcharges that you're kicking in. So this particular product, as I covered before, it is a legitimate SD-WAN solution, as well as that unlimited data plan that's going to be there for that peace of mind. As I mentioned before, we have our partners here today that we're talking together and going over the solution. We have services and 5G connections and wireless with Verizon as well. AT&T, the reason that I really like qualifying with AT&T, what kind of separates them a little bit differently, is that their vast footprint that they have helps out this product a lot. And the reason I'm going to say that is because when we do address validations, AT&T recently allowed us to start providing 4G LTE, which is a great service, but unlimited, uncapped, no data caps on those. So what does that mean? Well, the areas that AT&T hasn't fully built out, working for that are fully supporting the 5G side of the house, they still support the 4G LTE services. And the unlimited data plan that's included with this particular product set applies to that as well. So again, a lot of this will be address validation, but our partnership with AT&T, I haven't had any issues so far with being able to solidify the 5G and the 4G unlimited product set that we're including with this. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass this over to Paul. Thank you, Paul, for joining.
Sure. Thank you, Chris. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, Chris alluded to the partnership between AT&T and FirstComm. I think it really came down to the breadth of our network. As Chris mentioned, right, when there's an opportunity, that address is qualified with us so that FirstComm knows from the very beginning, what speeds are going to qualify, what coverage is there, given the specific address. And, you can see on this map, we've got pretty good coverage across the U.S. Obviously, there's areas where we're not as good as some of our competitors, but from an overall partnering standpoint, from conversations we've had with FirstComm, they decided to go with us as our primary carrier on this. So we're excited about that opportunity, and just our network should be able to provide the connectivity that FirstComm's looking for. Can you go to the next slide, Katie? So again, this is just a quick slide that shows some of the potential speeds that you would get from using this product. And again, it's all located based on location, right? So we're going to qualify those addresses, but these are some of the potential speeds with our fixed wireless product. And again, you can run from a primary or secondary connection. This is going to be a very rock solid solution based on the product set. So this slide just shows, because we have that pre-qualification step, if you see, we started with quite a few buildings, but we have, over the last several months, we've added just a ton more addresses in general. We've gone back to our developers and realized just the number of businesses that are not in a particular building, but people that are working from home are still businesses, right? So we have gone back and expanded the number of buildings, number of addresses that we can hit. And this number is just going to increase over the next several months. And it's kind of a living, breathing document that just gets updated almost weekly and monthly from the number of locations that we can hit. And so again, this just goes to the capabilities within the product. We've seen, just from a company standpoint, right? Customers want to be able to utilize our network however they see fit, whether that's replacing a traditional wireline product, whether it's being able to offset some cost from the traditional way of doing things. And this product really is going to allow, whether it's a full-blown replacement, whether it's a failover, whether it's an SD-WAN connection, like FirstComm is utilizing it for, it just gives customers the option. And because it's unlimited, to Chris's point earlier, the data caps are gone, so it makes it a very viable product, not only for FirstComm, but for all of our customers. That's the last slide, Katie.
Yes.
Okay. So, I would just like to say one more thing. Chris and the FirstComm team have been working on this product for upwards of 2 to 3 years. And we partner. I've known the guys from Peplink for years and years as well. So the overall maturation of this product has been very well thought out. And I work in the channel myself, and this FirstComm product is a solid go-to-market strategy. We're excited to partner with Peplink and FirstComm on this, and just excited about how we can get this out into the market. Chris, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thanks, Paul. Yes, Paul mentioned, we have been working on a product this for quite a bit, some time. We currently do SD-WAN security and stuff within First Communications, but for me, there's always been a vertical to look after from a price standpoint and a competitive product. And when I was going down my search to find out, partners outside of our current partnership and what we can offer from an SD-WAN solution, as well as a combined certified modem that works with all of the carriers, Peplink came on my list to start checking out. And I've always kind of followed a bit of Peplink products for over the years. But one thing I really, really enjoyed as we started to really work with them is the ability to leverage these Fusion hubs into our own data center. The biggest thing for me is the SD-WAN solution that we're actually getting from these particular devices. And what I mean by that is, we basically, when we say $140 a month, it is the SD-WAN solution along with a unlimited 5G connection. And the SD-WAN solution we're giving is unthrottled. We're not asking for 10 megs of SD-WAN software, 100 megs of SD-WAN software. The physical device we're putting out there has a throughput of 1 gig that we would support. And so, like, for us in the customer, these are type of things and additional add-on services that I always had a problem, I think, when I looked at our competitive products that are out there from an SD-WAN, is not only do you have to source the hardware and the software, but you're also looking to add additional charges and having to explain to a customer how much SD-WAN do they need, when most people just look, I've got a 500 meg circuit. Like, what do you mean? How much SD-WAN do I need? I'm thinking in 500 megs. So in this case, it's not a question for us, right? This is something that it is a product all in one. With that. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Beau, who's our partner here at Peplink.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. Yeah. So I think, one of the primary primary goals of Peplink is to create that always-on seamless connectivity. And Chris and Paul have touched on how we all come together in the ecosystem and create these solutions for partners, for our end users out there. So that part of it, we have somewhere around 70 plus patents on just the SpeedFusion technology alone, and the ability to deploy these fusion hubs across. So we have a centralized control plane called In Control 2, or our partners, FirstComm, can go in and ingest that information and redisplay it in a different format if they'd like, through APIs and a bunch of other extensibilities within Control 2. Now, I do eat my own dog food, so I'm running today on this webinar on the B1 5G with a cable circuit and an AT&T 4G 5G circuit in there as well. Being on webinars all day, every day, I need that ultra reliable connectivity to run my segment of business. So this isn't just something that we throw out there and say, this is going to work. I use it all day and every day. And really, the one of the other key benefits to Peplink is a lower total cost of ownership when compared to some other products in the marketplace. The licensing is flexible in regards to the SaaS components, the things that we can add on and enable within the routers. It's all there. So, to be able to deploy and not have to worry about complicated licensing or extended licensing, really kind of, helps reduce overall cost of higher end, really expensive circuits. You can combine multiple cable circuits, 4G, 5G, really creates a value in the marketplace, and it's scalable. So, from products like the B1 5G all the way through enterprise grade or carrier grade type products, they're all available. And I've worked with Paul and his team prior to meeting the FirstComm team. AT&T is a great partner in this space, and we work really well together. And now I'm getting to know the FirstComm team and really seeing where their strengths are in the marketplace, and what a great group of people. So we brought together this proven, trusted stack of technology. Ultimately, the key benefit is to the end user. So really appreciate the partnership all the way around. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, thanks, Beau. I think the hardware has been, for us, a key intricate piece of this long search to find out an all-encompassed modem, because you get this a lot. You have third-party products that are out there that develop great hardware and software behind it, but yet they're trying to incorporate a modem, right? That they have yet to really validate. It's a lot of work that goes into getting devices certified, the modems are certified with all the different types of carriers. So this is great. It's like you guys already had a great modem set, great partnership with all the providers that are out there, and then just really went to town and created a great SD-WAN overlay that goes with that. So with that, I will gear up our just a quick demonstration of the visibility. I think that I will show you. Customers can have access to this if they want. Again, it's a fully managed solution, so this is typically what we're looking at. But I will go over some high level overview of some of these details here. So the access level, of course, First Communications has all access to all the customer base that's going to be here to be able to manage it. But, we can give access to customers as well, IT managers, even some of our partners that would like to manage and do some support for the customers. But, ideally, when you first log in, the biggest things, of course, is the notifications that come across, real-time events. I kind of triggered some alerts earlier just so you kind of see what goes on. But obviously these alerts that get triggered here are also generated via the email. So we can have a distribution list. Of course, we open a ticket immediately depending on what the type of level of services that happen. But we can also include the customer, IT staff, whoever wants to be involved in some of these notifications as well. So you'll get a restoral when that circuit comes back up, as well as anytime it goes back down. And these are just emails that are getting generated to the system. One thing I do like about the product set is the real-time capability. A lot of the times I think that, especially when you're looking at a wireless connection, there's so many variables that go into play, and not having the visibility is very difficult, right? A lot of times customers or partners are looking at the box and it's like, all right, how many bars are on it, right? And that's very difficult to understand the type of service that you're actually getting. So within this, of course, the front page of the details, you have your IP addresses that are easily there. They're showing from both devices. In this case, right now, my cellular service is set to standby versus it going from a primary to primary. And the reason it's set like that is because of the SD-WAN solution that we're providing. I honestly have my SD-WAN solution that's going to be set up primarily for my voice, Teams, and things like that. They're routing over to this guy right here, which is the Fusion Hub, which I mentioned before. But in the details perspective, we can go in there. And again, these are kind of real-time packets and captures that you can see. But looking at the decibels, the types of the band that it's on, again, this is some more high-level tech talk, but you have that flexibility and capability to see that, because these are some things that people like to be able to see from a support standpoint, and especially us here at First Communications. Like, we have to rely on this information anyway if we need to open tickets with the upstream carrier, AT&T or Verizon. Another cool component, as I mentioned before, you can generate speed tests. And so we have these already kind of pre-built in, but again, I'm accessing the site from Chrome. This device could be located anywhere, right? And I could run these speed tests from where I'm at. And right now, if there's multiple connections, you would have one that says WAN 2, right? So we can run these speed tests here remotely from the web application here. And then from there, we can actually go into the reports. And so I'll go over these other reports in a second, but since we're on the connections and testing results, let's go back and look. I have this pre-scheduled, and we can do this for customers as well. So what I do is I have a test that runs at midnight just to check speeds throughout. And of course, I have access to this report that I can now log in, as well as, again, what you're seeing right here is what the access level that we can give to our partners or even our customers as well. But midnight last night, you can see from up here is where we're going to look at the performance test that ran for the cellular. So this would be the AT&T. So right now, as you saw before, I'm technically running, I didn't qualify for 5G. I'm actually in a suburb outside of Los Angeles. But AT&T's 4G LTE unlimited did qualify. And that's what my current connection would be running off right now. And at midnight, these are the type of these were the tests that happened during that time, right? As you can see, I got a 221 download speeds and about 11.1 upload speeds. That's actually really good, right? I mean, from an LTE, this wasn't a 5G connection. Same thing if I want to look at my WAN. So this would be my dedicated Comcast. Again, separate test. We can look at these results that are in here. 491 down, 10.81 up. So another feature, as I mentioned before, these are just legitimate type of connection speed tests. You can run these on a periodic testing scenario, scheduled, or real time from the connections tab if I wanted to do that. But going back to the reports, one thing I do like about this is the quality of the type of connection we're going to refer to. And so here from a detailed report, you can actually see these statistics, especially when it comes to like cellular. I'll go over the WAN in a second, but right here under like a 3-hour report that you can see, or the timing of the 3 hours, we can just hover over the particular type of the connection itself. And typically when it comes to cellular, I notice that you always have a decent connection type. It's usually some of the signal strength will really kind of hold the type of quality that goes across that type of thing. So you can produce typically great speed tests a lot with a cellular service. It's a lot of the latency and stuff that kind of kicks in that you don't have a whole lot of control over. But from here, you can actually see some of these details as I start to hover over, right? And it kind of goes poor, excellent, good. So if you don't know the back end terminology of what minus 111 decibels is, it will rate that, right? Obviously, apparently it's poor, so it doesn't like that. But you do have this flexibility that's in here. Same thing with the primary connection. So I can look at the the last 3 hours of this. And of course, since this is a dedicated coax BCI, it's going to be pretty much running smooth. It will have some latency hiccups every now and then, but you can actually see the streams, right? And actually, as I mentioned before, I did trigger an up-down status. So right here, you can see that this is where it did go down, and of course back up, as long as those reports that I got. Other reports, right? This is a great aspect of it. The product does include a Wi-Fi 6 capability. I'm sorry if I did not mention that, but outside of the SD-WAN solution, if those customers in those locations, we're talking 6, 7, 10 employees at a specific location, I mean, we can actually enable the Wi-Fi capability, which is a Wi-Fi 6 product, and you can manage that piece remotely from this as well, creating the networks behind that, right? The public or the shared network that they want to. But the reporting capability is great on this. And again, we can generate reports daily, hourly, monthly. So some of these things here that you're able to see, these will be generated via email, and we can set that up on the initial kickoff call when we discuss this. But what I do like about it, of course, are the connected devices. In this case, we're looking at my house. I'm not using the embedded Wi-Fi 6 Wi-Fi capability. I have my own mesh network. And where you can see majority of the data gets pulled from my daily household stuff that my kids apparently or haven't had school in the past couple of days. But outside of that, each device, you can see its utilization as well. The type of bandwidth, of course, it's producing. Another component of these reports, of course, would be the WAN quality reports. And of course, the bandwidth usage reports. So for here, we want to talk about, we got real time, obviously, but we can go monthly and just look at basically the overall data that are the overall utilization usage reports. And of course, you specify, obviously, this is megabits, but guarantee you this is my house, so I'll change this over to gigabits. And again, this is definitely a powerful tool set and a visibility standpoint, not just for having that capability of looking into this stuff, but for me and our support team is having access to kind of go in here and pull specific reports, look at some history if need be. If there's a problem, hey, we failed over 3 times this month, and I will say that our cellular backup that you guys provided hasn't been that great. We can now go back and look at that history just to see, maybe work with AT&T or Verizon to figure out what the issues are, right? Could be high congestion and things like that, but it's nice to know that we can get that information from them. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand this back over to Katie, and I appreciate it. And again, we're going to hang out and answer any type of questions. Any technical questions, go ahead and ask away, but I'm going to hand this back over to you, Katie.
Thanks so much, Chris. All right, I am now going to hand it off to Matt Cardenas, our VP of Sales, to jump into our SPIFFs and partner program a little bit deeper.
Good afternoon.
And Matt, I think your mic's cut out.
You hear me now?
No.
A little bit.
Okay. How about now?
A little bit.
That's better.
That's not good. All right, how about now?
Much better.
All right, awesome. Well, I apologize for that, but I want to echo Chris's sentiments earlier. I want to thank everybody, our partners, and probably more importantly, our audience that has joined us today, because it's all about you, in my opinion. It's been that way through all of my partnerships through all the years. So, we probably have a good mix in the audience today, people that know FirstComm for years, some that are getting reintroduced, and some new partners. And so I'm new, and I kind of want to share a couple of thoughts because we are the new FirstComm. And, I kind of want to share who we're aspiring to be for those that know we were pretty much a TDM company, and through all the decommissioning, we're evolving and we're changing. And that all started about a year ago when the company hired our new CEO, Paul Van Hifte. And Paul has a tremendous vision for this company, and he is one of the main reasons why I joined the company. And I'd like to share that story because it does play into some of the things I'm going to talk about. One of the main reasons I joined this company is because of the people. You heard Chris talk about our 10-year average. I've met a lot of the people on our team, and they're simply amazing. And really, it's all about the customer experience and the partner experience, and it starts with the people. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there. And, as we aspire to change for the better and evolve as a company, we've spent a lot of money, again, ultimately making it a better experience for the partner channel and the customers. We have a renewed focus there. A very critical hire was Katie McCormick, who's on this call right now. She worked with my boss, Paul Van Hifte, at US Signal and did a tremendous job. And I can tell you, for those that have engaged with her, you've probably seen the work that she's capable of. And she has put on some tremendous engagements with some major partners of ours. So big investment. It's going to be a big payoff again for you guys. So Katie, welcome again, and thanks for everything that you do for us. I joined the team back in January, and I've seen a lot of what people talk about here, and that is really the experience of doing business with us. And that is the easy engagement piece. And I'm going to talk about that. So, we have a clear vision. If you haven't heard the new story, I suggest you get with your channel manager, set up a call. I'd be more than happy to get on, do a deeper dive. Obviously today, we will not be able to cover everything that you guys are probably curious about. But this is a good starting point, right? So again, we are going to walk away, hopefully educating you folks more. For those that don't know our whole portfolio of products, let's get together. Let's do a deeper dive. Let's do a deeper dive around the SPIFFs, processes, the value prop that we present as well. So kind of wanted to put that out there. I want you guys to know that, I take our partnership extremely serious. It is a major focus for us. And so, I want to be involved in any way I can to make your experience that much better. So we shared a battle card, which you'll be able to see after this call. That's something that Katie put together. It is a great kind of guide, if you will. We have different levels of technical acumen on this call, but also there's a sales aspect to it. So I would highly recommend that you get one of those from us and keep it handy for all of our products. We have several battle cards, very, very well done, by the way. So again, that's Katie's work, and look forward to more of that to come. So let's go ahead and get going as far as the SPIFFs are concerned. Many of you may have already seen this slide. I would point out, as it relates to the FusionOne product, it is a 1X SPIFF. But I can tell you also, for those newer folks, this has been so well received overall, the SPIFF in general, the 10X to the 5X and all the way down. So, again, we can do deeper dive on this with your channel manager, but we're excited to continue to add to this. And so if we can go to the next slide, this is what we're adding for Q4. And in the spirit of football season, by the way, I'm in SEC country. I'm a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan here in Tampa, Florida. And if you're not, we got plenty of time to work on that. So at the end of the day, we are doing a football spiff. And really what it boils down to is if you bring 3 deals to the table in the quarter with a minimum MRC of $500 per month, we'll give you a $300 bonus. If you bring 7 deals to the table, same criteria, $500 minimum MRC, you get a $700 total bonus. Then in our bonus play, if you bring us 10 deals, you'll get an extra $1,000. And then we have our longest yard for any super large deals, 5,000 in this case, you'll get a $500 bonus. And then lastly, on our Monday night lights, the first deal you close in October, we'll throw you a $100 fast start bonus. So those will be paid out in bonus fashion, not to be confused with a gift card. So again, you know, we want you to earn as much as possible. We want to help you get there. So, you know, let's get together, you know, let's do some one-on-one deep dives and put a plan together. So with that in mind, let's go to the next slide. So some of you are familiar with submitting an opportunity. Depending on who you are as a partner, you may be doing it a little bit differently to cater to your process, but we're known as the easy button in terms of engagement. And I can tell you that somebody on our team, been with us over 20 years, her name is Jill Lukowich. A lot of people on this call know her, but if you don't know her, get introduced to her. Ask your channel manager to get on a call, bring Jill on, because she, again, is a phenomenal, phenomenal resource, not only for us internally, but again, for you, the partner. And so let's talk about how you submit an opportunity. You get with your channel manager, find out exactly what the requirements are. Then the channel manager will get with Jill. Jill will do all of the quoting. And again, we do cater to whatever's easier for you in terms of the engagement. It's very, very critical, folks, because, you know, we want to work kind of to your liking, if you will. So when Jill gets on calls, she talks about that, you know, and we're all about being nimble. You know, we're not the 800-pound gorilla, nor do we want to be. We want to be quick, nimble, and efficient. And so even though in step number 3, when your quote is turned around, it says 1 to 3 business days, but I can tell you, as many on this call know, it could be back to you within an hour or 2. So we are trying to turn around things quickly, get them back into your hand so you can get them back to your customer and hopefully close that deal. And then lastly, once an order is signed, it will be assigned a project manager, and everything will be taken care of from there on out. And so with that in mind, I think it's a good segue into the next slide, because here's where we really shine. Yeah, we'll turn around quotes quickly. We'll give you the best engagement, but I think this is really where the rubber meets the road. I think we all know how critical implementation is. I've been doing this for a long time, if you can tell by the color of my hair. And one of the things that people ask all the time, how much downtime? What's the process? Well, the good news is we have a very proven, successful process. I want to share a quick story. I was in Detroit several months ago, meeting with a larger partner, an over 20-year partner, I should add. And they presented us with the 2024 Supplier of the Year award. And I asked them what merited that, what warranted that. And they said, you know, you always make us look good, and our customers are always happy. You guys are consistent the way you implement, and that's why you are getting this award. And oh, by the way, they said, don't get rid of Jill Lukowich, for what it's worth. So let's just talk about this real quick, because again, it's very, very critical. So an order is placed and it'll be sent to that email address. Upon receipt of the order, it'll be reviewed and then it will be confirmed and move forward. At that point, step number 3, we will have a kickoff call. Typically, these are related to hosted orders, but I can tell you this is a very thorough call and making sure that we capture everything, anything from call flow, any seat assignments as it relates to hosted. Order provisioning is next, and once all the information is confirmed, the order is passed to provisioning for any applicable items. Could be hardware, could be anything. As far as number 5, the installation process, during that process, communication is, again, a key piece to this, and regular updates will be provided by your order or project manager. Wendy's another name you're going to hear. Wendy's been around a long time, and she's a rock star. So again, we are going to work with you, vendor contacts, turn updates, coordinating porting, and everything else. And then lastly is the service activation. Your project manager will confirm all the dates with all the contacts and any next steps, directions, and confirmation of the service activation date. So this is a very critical document and process that we're kind of known for. Some people call it our white glove. So again, we've been doing this a long time, and that's why I wanted to share that story with you. So with that in mind, I'll just remind everybody one more time, I want to meet all of you. Ultimately, I want to. I have a call today in an hour with another partner I've never met. I've been on calls last week, the week before. I'm just here to be a player coach and do whatever I can for you. And so get with your channel team member and let's get some calls going and make some deals happen. So with that in mind, I want to thank you guys for allowing me to join this call. Katie?
Thanks so much, Matt. And thank you to Chris, Beau, and Paul for sharing your insights today. We're now going to move into the Q&A session of today's webinar. So don't forget, you can submit your questions through that Q&A feature. It should be in the top toolbar of your screen. And we'll go ahead and jump into questions. I think we have a few minutes here. So the first question that I have here is probably more for Chris, but what type of applications and services are best supported by FusionOne?
Yeah, I say pretty much anything that requires internet connectivity. It's going to reach out into the cloud. Kind of a loaded response, but if you think about it, though, even like traditional premise-based PBXs, right? That voice is going to be converted to SIP at some point, and that leaves the network there locally up into some form of session border controllers that then are going to connect to the PSTN network. So that would be an actual great use case for those on the voice side of the house. And of course, the bigger applications now that most people are using, Microsoft Teams, any type of Office 365 application, CRM tools, right? Billing systems and things like that.
Great. And that kind of folds into the next question that I have here, but how about providing backup for existing SIP trunking or voice services?
Yeah, I mean, again, if one thing I do like about this particular product, because we're able to kind of provide a solution for single ISP-based customers that already probably have a connection within coax, BCI. They might have a fiber connection, right? With that, they already have their existing services, applications that they're using. And with this particular product set, we can go in there and bridge what they already have, give them the survivability from the SD-WAN solution, and also provide that dedicated backup connection that is included within the product set that's completely unlimited. So it will cover any type of existing product set that they're currently using, and just bringing on the First Communications FusionOne product to make their make them have more of a survivability applications that are going to be there. And by all means, we can also include, from a quote aspect, not just FusionOne, but we can also bring in our own, internet connections if they need that as well. We're able to provide those quotes for these particular solutions too.
Perfect. Thank you so much. In regard to providing internet solutions, we did have another question here for FusionOne. If a customer doesn't currently have dedicated internet access, can FusionOne serve as the customer's primary connection?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say it's the way, this is the way I look at it. For remote employees, right? You have an organization and you have staff that can be full-time remote or whatever else. I think it's a great product that would solidify a remote employee if they don't have internet at home, or you have to source some type of service to keep this individual mission ready and to work real time. That being said, any SD-WAN solution that's out there does require a secondary connection if you really want an SD-WAN solution to shine, right? So I would not recommend of saying, hey, we're going to provide an SD-WAN solution. What type of service? They have zero ISP, or they're looking at it to replace. And then, look, we already have one type of internet connection with Spectrum or whoever else. We just want to disconnect that and use this service. I would go against that because, one, I think the latency levels that you get from a wired connection versus a wireless connection are night and day, regardless of the types of speeds that you get. But that being said, you also, from an SD-WAN solution, it's not going to work like the way you want it to work, right? If you're trying to do packet inspections and things like that, you're only running over one internet connection. So I would highly recommend not using it as a sole location for a business. I would recommend it for remote employees, things like that. That makes a lot of sense because they can actually have access. If they need access, you now have because it has that 5G connection, right? That would be a standard standalone connection. And of course, you still get the benefits from the monitoring capabilities from FusionOne, right? But as far as the SD-WAN is concerned, you're still going to have two internet connections. In my case, I have I'm a remote employee. I have FusionOne here, but I also have a primary internet connection. So that's mission critical for me. How many times if Spectrum goes down a month? Surprisingly, I have a lot of DNS issues out here in California. I don't know what goes on, but my solution works fine because it automatically sends everything business related, work related back over the 5G connection. And I'm still working fine. So
wonderful. Thank you so much. All right. I think that is all the time that we have for questions today. Any additional questions, as I mentioned, will be followed up via email. That brings us to the end of today's webinar. Thank you again for spending time with us. We appreciate your partnership and engagement. If you do have any questions after we conclude today or would like to take the next step, please reach out to your channel manager directly, or you can visit firstcomm.com/FusionOne for additional resources or to get in touch. We're really excited to support your success, especially this quarter, and to help you boost your revenue with FusionOne. Thank you guys again, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Goodbye.